You finish an incredible nonfiction book, feeling inspired and ready to apply the insights. Then, a week later, you try to explain the core concept to a friend, and the words are gone. In that silence, it is easy to assume you have a poor memory or simply need to reread the text until it finally sticks. But your brain is actually acting with efficiency. It is biologically optimized to discard information that requires zero effort to consume. This creates the illusion of competence. Reading words and dragging a highlighter across them makes the material feel familiar, but familiarity is not the same as mastery. It is like watching someone else do push-ups. It offers the image of progress without the actual strain required to build strength. As long as you rely on passive consumption, you are providing no reason for your brain to invest the energy required to store that data long-term. We can see a more effective model in the daily rhythm of Japanese students. To memorize thousands of complex kanji characters, they shift from being consumers of information to builders of knowledge. The first step in their framework requires abandoning the habit of rereading. The focus shifts entirely to active retrieval. This relies on the testing effect. To determine what data is important enough to keep, the brain requires cognitive friction. Closing the book and attempting to pull a specific passage from your mind sends a priority signal to your nervous system. The mental friction felt during difficult recall marks the moment the brain shifts from temporary storage to the energy-intensive process of long-term consolidation. This makes cognitive strain a mandatory requirement for permanent retention rather than a sign of failure. This means the most critical moment of reading happens the second you finish a section. Moving straight to the next chapter at that point usually ensures the previous one will be forgotten. Instead, pause for 2 minutes to execute the Feynman technique. Explain the core concept out loud as if you were teaching it to a beginner. Translating abstract thoughts into spoken language forces your mind to organize complexity and filter out the noise that doesn't matter. While highlighting merely acknowledges a sentence, the act of verbalization provides the structural encoding necessary for your memory to hold the idea. By assuming the role of a teacher immediately after the input stops, you force yourself to move past vague familiarity and into actual comprehension. The final phase of the process occurs hours after you've closed the book, while you are asleep. During deep sleep, the hippocampus evaluates neural activity, deciding which circuits to strengthen. Adopting the Japanese evening rhythm, a 10-minute review of the day's main idea before bed, primes the hippocampus to replay that specific data, driving structural changes that build long-term mastery. Without this evening signal, the hippocampus is more likely to prioritize more recent stimuli, like the content of a social media feed, causing the day's deeper insights to fade. This framework does not require a massive lifestyle overhaul. It relies on the philosophy of Kaizen, tiny, continuous improvements. The routine is simple. Set a timer for a 25-minute reading sprint. When it goes off, close the book and spend 2 minutes speaking the main idea out loud. This small shift moves you away from passive consumption and toward the active building of knowledge. Reliable memory is not a talent. It is the result of a reading habit that respects how your brain is actually designed to work.